we can take a look at our front block. Now the front block, main issues that you can have with leakage, you can have leakage from here, from these O-rings, which will be in this area on your NME, just around the eye covers. That's where the actual sealing goes on, right here. If you're getting leakage there, it's probably these O-rings. The number 15 O-rings, the same O-rings that are on your bolt. Most NMEs come with urethane O-rings here. Again, as I've already stated, replace them with Buna. They're cheaper and they seem to work better. So these O-rings, I'm going to wipe down. I'm going to check. So we've got our front block. I'm going to wipe them down like so. If you really want to do an intense cleaning, if you find that the front block just isn't sealing at all, no matter how much you clean this here, as with any O-rings, take the O-rings right off the bolt, or sorry, right off the front block, take them right off, get in there and clean any residue out of there, and then check the O-rings. If you have any residue that's inside here that you normally don't see just by wiping off the top, then you're going to have to get in there and take these O-rings off. But I'm not having any problems, and also I just recently done this a few days ago as well, but I'm doing this for illustration purposes. So I'm going to take some Dow 55. Now it's going to require a little bit more, if not only for the simple fact that you're doing 2 O-rings instead of 1, and these are relatively large O-rings. And with any O-rings, you want to make sure that you get full coverage from end to end. You don't want them. You don't want the Dow 55 to be, gooped on, but you want it to be covering all aspects of these O-rings. And remember, if you put a little bit too much on, you can easily take it off. But if you don't put enough on, and you just put it back on your NME, you could have problems. You'll have leakage right when you lube it up. So just clean this off here. And I've re-lubed the front block. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the LPR. We're going to take off this piece, the casing. We're going to deal with the piston O-ring, which should also be done at the same time as the poppet. Alright, so we have our front block. Now what we want to do is we want to deal with the piston O-ring that sits here, which you should do. If you want to do it after every case, you can. I tend to do it after every 2 or 3 cases at the same time I do my poppet. And I haven't had any problems yet, but if you find that you're running into issues with your LPR being inconsistent, then you'll do this O-ring every time you deal with your bolt and your round. So the first thing we have to do to get this casing off is to unscrew the connection here, which connects with this hose. So we can just use flathead screwdriver and unscrew it. Once it's unscrewed, just wipe off any residue. Now, you'll notice for this cap, to remove this cap, you have 3 set screws. The first one is located just below the screw that we just took off. There's another one here and another one here. Pretty much they're in a triangular shape. So there's only 3 of them. If you have more than 3, then double check. If we've removed the 3 screws, you might actually find that the cap will actually just pop right off without any effort required, which is a good thing. So we're going to take our cap off, and we're going to take our front block with the LPR and just put it aside for now. Right now we're going to be looking at the LPR cap. So the first thing I always like to do when I get the LPR cap off is, as always, just clean it off, especially the inside, for any sort of dowel residue that's left over, any paint residue, if there's any in there, which usually isn't common, but usually you have a grease or anything else. So just clean it out with the rag, outside as well, if you haven't already done so. Okay, so now that we've cleaned it off, we're going to have to unscrew the LPR adjustment knob. Now to do that, we have to make sure that we loosen the LPR adjustment set screw. So we're going to take our Allen key. It's the same Allen key that we used to remove these. And you don't have to take it out if you don't want to, but just sort of loosen it. And once we unscrew this, we're going to find we have the adjustment knob, and we're also going to have the spring as well. So there's the spring. The flat side is facing towards the LPR. So we're just going to take this, set it aside as well. Now if you look on the inside, it might be difficult to see, but if you look on the inside you'll see a silver piece, which is actually the main contact point, which will contact between your adjustment knob and the actual LPR. This is the piece which pushes on your LPR pin, which adjusts your pressure. So what we're going to do is, now that we have everything loose, we're actually just going to take it from this side, from the inside. Just use an Allen key if you want, and just gently press and it'll just pop right out. And you're going to notice this thing, this baby right here. So this one, we're definitely going to clean. We're going to wipe it down. Again, if you're noticing inconsistent velocity or inconsistent LPR, it's just all over the place, or maybe it isn't recharging for whatever reason, then you would probably want to remove the O-ring, clean everything on the inside, and do a full examination. I'm not having any such problems, so I'm just going to clean this off as is. There we go. So I clean this off. Now before I put it back in, I want to lubricate it. So I'm going to take some down 55 and lubricate all the way around. Once I've done that, just sort of take a look at my handiwork, make sure that it is lubricated both edges all the way around, and it totally is. So now what I can do is, you want to make sure that when you put it back in, there's a flat side that faces the gun, the NME marker, and the side that has a bit of a rim, that faces the spring, because that's where the spring is going to sit inside of. So we're going to take our cap, like so. Here's where the adjustment knob goes, and this is where the LPR is. We're going to take it and we're going to push it through the front. Just drop it in that far. You don't have to do anything major, because once you put it in like this, you can take your spring with your adjustment screw. You can just get it in here, like so. And what I like to do is, I like to take my finger here, just put it on the inside, just to make sure I don't push it too far. And all you have to do is push until you start reaching a point where you have to actually start the threads, and you can actually just turn it like so. Just get it started off, and you'll actually feel, as you're turning it with this finger, you'll feel it pushing this way, which is great. So we're just going to keep turning it. You'll have to fine tune it once you get the gun aired up. You'll have to adjust it to between, I'd say, 95 psi and about 60 psi. I run mine at about 60 psi, and I can easily shoot a case off a full 68-4500 film. So for now, I'm just going to turn this so I can see about 2 threads maybe, and that's about good enough for now. Once I've done that, I'm not going to bother locking this down, but I'm just going to hand turn it so that it doesn't fall out, because it's annoying when these things fall out. So now that this is done, we're basically done any of the work that we'd have to do for every 2 to 3 cases, because we've done our poppet, we've done our regulator, or at least our LPR regulator piston. We've done that as well, and we're done pretty much everything that we'd have to do every 2 to 3 weeks. If you want, we can also, or if you want, you can also do the HPR spring as well, which we're going to be doing in a bit.